eNCA anchor Xoli Mngambi has been following the State Capture Commission. He joins us live now from Parktown. And Xoli, as we take this adjournment until Friday morning, a lot of people will be wondering whether this is an adjournment brought on by genuine concern or a stalling tactic on the part of the former president.
It's interesting, Tembegile, that you phrase it that way, because that is the question I'm going to put to the attorney of the former President Jacob Zuma, and that's Mr. Daniel Mancha, who joins me now for this conversation. Mr. Mancha, the question from my colleague is, was this a deliberate strategy from the get-go that you try firstly to discredit this commission of inquiry in your approach as the legal team of the former president? Was your mission to not have the former president answer these questions from the start?
Well, I think you must ask that question to the commission. The former president did not set the rules of the commission. The commissions have adopted rules in which everyone who appears before the commission should be treated according to those rules. The president was invited. We asked in terms of which rule. They said it's a courtesy invite. The president must come and give his side of the story. On Monday, as they opened, they indicated that they've invited him, and therefore they are not going to cross-examine him, because in terms of the rules, the cross-examination is done at the leisure of the chairperson of the commission upon an application which the chairperson of the commission has to agree with that application. So what has happened, the commission did not keep its word and led to the former president to complain.
Can I just come in there, Mr. Mancha? The frustration of the commission here is that the former president has not put up his own version based on what he believes, and yourselves, of course, advising him that he is not an implicated party here. There are 9 witnesses that this commission had planned to go through, or to take the former president through, in terms of the witness statements that have been made. How is the commission able to extract the information that it needs in order to check against those that have accused the former president of wrongdoing?
I think you have been listening to those witnesses who have been testifying, allegedly implicating the former president. As lawyers, we understand the legal meaning of the word implicating. In terms of the legal meaning of the word implicating, within the terms of reference of the commission, which is fraud, corruption, maladministration, and the so-called state capture, of which the president has indicated that he doesn't understand. So, none of those elements that constitute a violation of constitution, a violation of our criminal code, and improper conduct, we didn't find any of those upon consideration of the statement that we have received. For example, the statement they are talking about now of Barbara Hogan. The president was asked, did you interfere with the appointment of Transnet CE, Mr. Gama? The answer was clear, no, I didn't interfere. And then I ask you, interference with an appointment, is that a crime? Is that a violation of the Constitution? Despite the fact that the president clearly told them that the appointments of chief executive officers of the state-owned companies, the boards, the director general, is a matter of cabinet. It's not a matter of presidents, it's not a matter of one person.
Mr. Mancha, let me try and cut to the chase here. One of your legal team members, Mr. Masugu, stood up yesterday and said, let's all remember that if this client is being cross-examined, it's not just this commission which is going to make findings at the end, but they are prosecuting, or there are law enforcement agencies that are also watching with keen interest, recording whatever is coming out of here with the intention to prosecute. Is the fear on your part
Not
that
at all.
the former president is going
Not
to
at all.
self-incriminate here?
Not at all. None of the so-called implicating statements against the president, there is not a single shred of evidence that a crime has been committed or a violation of the Constitution. No, we're not. The president is not scared of any prosecution in terms of any of the statements which these people have indicated. Not at all.
Your client's framing or your client's attitude towards this commission is that, can I just ask you to put down your...
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Your client is of the view that this forum or this commission of inquiry, it shouldn't exist to begin with. And I think we heard that with his opening statement on Monday, that this should not be termed state capture to begin with. Perhaps the question here is, what is the attitude of your client towards this commission?
I think you remember very well that he is the one who actually established this commission after directed, of course, by the public protector, a chief justice, to appoint the current chairperson. The president, as he indicated on Monday, he has got no problem for this commission investigating allegations of corruption, fraud, maladministration. He has got no problem with that. He indicated he has got problem with the naming state capture, because in his evidence, as he made a statement, he said, well, tell me if the judiciary is captured. Tell me if the legislature is captured. And tell me if the executive is captured. So this commission must actually tell him that. So he has no problem for this commission, and for that matter, he has no problem to appear before an impartial, fair, a commission which is not treating him as an accused person, a commission which is not biased towards him, is prepared to appear before a commission like that.
Mr. Mancha, a decision, a critical decision, therefore, is got to be made based on the discussions that you're going to have tomorrow. The commission is not going to sit, but it will resume on Friday. On Friday, is the nation guaranteed that the former president will return to this commission after the discussions tomorrow?
I think the commission must answer that question. They must answer the question, because what is our complaint? Our complaint is you called us here to seek clarity, and you told us on Monday that you're not going to cross-examine us because your rules don't allow you to do so. And then you decided to cross-examine us. So it's for the commission to decide. If the commission wants to apply their own rule fairly, like they have done to other ministers and other people who have appeared as their witnesses, if they are treating the former president like any other witness they have called before, then the president will be happily participate. But the president is not going to participate in a commission which is biased against him.
What makes you say that this commission is biased against him?
Well, I think we have indicated in a number of correspondences that the commission is biased against the president. I can give you an example. You get a so-called Rule 3.3 from the commission that you are being implicated by a particular witness. For example, we have got a notice from Mrs. Ndani, whatever she's called, that we are implicated. But she came here. She gave evidence that we never asked the president because there was no evidence that implicated the president. And the person, is it Mr. Kolane, came here and said, look, I've used people's name to secure whatever I've secured. So we can go to each and every notice that we've got, that any decision by any lawyer for that matter, in terms of the allegation contained in those statements, and decide that a person is implicated, it can only mean one thing: biased against the person. To try to pile as much allegations against the former president as possible, because you want him here. He indicated that this commission to others is supposed to be his graveyard.
Mr. Mancha, just very briefly as we wrap up our conversation, it did appear from day one of this commission that the legal team of the former president may have shown intentions perhaps not to want to cooperate. And why I say that? The accusation towards the Commission was that documents were never given to you. The Commission's legal evidence leader, Paul Pretoria, says documents were sent, if, for example, you look at Themba Masego, were sent as far back as last year to your office, which is the receiving office of documents. Why did you never share those documents with the former president? And if anyone is to be blamed, someone will say you are to blame for your witness or for your client coming here before this commission and looking very ill-prepared.
No, you're capturing the facts incorrectly. What we have been receiving were the notices allegedly implicating the former president as early as this commission has started.
Yes.
We have been receiving those notices, right? In each of those notices, the former president made an election not to participate in the gossip, not to participate in rumors. He made an election not to give a statement because he couldn't allow the dignity of his office to come and talk gossip, mainly from the people who were at some stage were removed from cabinet, at some stage were removed from the position which they had, people who genuinely hold grudge against him. The documents they were talking about on Monday, these are documents for him as a witness. It's different from the documents which he was being given in terms of him being implicated. The president was called here. We requested the questions. We requested the parameter in which the commission wanted to engage with him. The commission refused. So how on earth were we expected to prepare him? We wanted to prepare him by trying to determine the parameter. The commission refused. They said, he's our witness. So they got to deal with him as their witness.
Mr. Mancha, as we wrap up this conversation, I can't avoid asking you the question. The state-owned entities, whether you talk Eskom, Transnet, also Denel, which entity you were once a chairperson of, that institution is in tatters financially today. But importantly, here's a question. Did you ever receive any favors from the Guptas?
Is this now a personal question to me?
It's a question directed at you, indeed.
No.
You're refusing to answer it?
No, I'm saying no to your question. I'm saying no favors. That's the answer I'm giving to you.
And they've never paid any municipal bills?
No.
Daniel Mancha, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks indeed for indulging us. Thank you very much. That's Daniel Mancha. He is the instructing attorney of the former President Jacob Zuma, talking to us about the process that is going to unfold. Tembegile, one is that tomorrow the teams from the two sides are going to meet and they're going to thresh out issues on the way forward. Then on Friday, the commission will resume. So tomorrow, it's not a working day, at least for us who are covering the commission, because these talks are going to be held behind the scenes. But the legal teams will be definitely hard at work discussing a way forward. Then on Friday, the nation, I guess, will wait with bated breath to hear whether or not the former president will return here.
Before you go, Xoli, we do still expect you at work tomorrow. So it is a working day for you, perhaps not at the inquiry, but it is a working day. Xoli Mngambi live to us there from Parktown.